Greetings and welcome back, blade lovers. This old sword with you. And what do we got here today? Well, I was mulling over what next quote-unquote favorites video to do, and I found I had way more favorites than I had time or space in one video to do them. So here's the theme today. These are detail-rich production folders, which I call eye candy, and you can see just from looking at them here that there's a lot going on. And these aren't all of them. I may do a second run and try to put a few more in there and include some from some other manufacturers. So couldn't represent all manufacturers here today, but again, the idea is you've got production folders that are right on the cusp of being and looking like custom knives. Of course, there's some custom knives that look very plain, and that's not a bad thing. But these are what I call detail rich. So there are videos out there describing each one of these that you can find on my channel. Full reviews with specifications, size, weight, etc. We're not going to do that today. We're just going to kind of look at them for their workmanship and their eye candy and their design. So this first one, and I'm going to have to back out a little bit to hit focus. There we go. And hopefully we can maintain focus because we got a lot going on in the background. This is the Straight Up by We. This is a Asian inspired tanto folder. Notice it's got a pretty good detent, as witnessed by my little bit of difficulty there in getting it open with a thumb stud. It's got some features that are just amazing, but if we look at it just for the detail, there is a pattern on the handle that essentially is the We branding, We trademark. Recently there was another knife, the Rike by Real Steel, where Ivan Braganets had put his name in Morse code all along the handle and the clip. This is similar in that regard, except we've got We, that if you didn't know that it was the We logo, you would simply take it as maybe an Asian inspired design. Got the same on the pivot, and I'm going to need to back out even a little more because I came in kind of close for that first shot. Okay. Got a blackened blade on this one. It had come in several different styles. I think what I'm going to do is move some of these guys out of the background and bring them in one at a time. That's going to help focus on one at a time. And there we go, a little bit better. We've got a deep carry clip that is machined from titanium, and one of the few machined titanium clips that is truly deep carry. Blue anodizing on the handle. But as far as being feature rich, this is the old style We pivots with the star screws. A lot of people feel they're really a pain, but that's what they were doing back a good number of years ago, shortly after We became a well-known brand. Even got the star screw on the hardened steel insert screw. Got it on the other side of the thumb stud and on the thumb stud. I just think it's really cool. They do include a tool with it to take those out and break the knife down. Traditional tanto inspired blade, not American tanto, not a chisel point. 0 degree grind here, where the bevel comes all the way down to the edge and meets it. There is no secondary bevel there. There is one here with a full, tall, flat grind and a fuller down the middle. So today is about just looking and appreciating, and I'm not going to say too much more about this one. I think your eyes can take it in. These are no longer in production. I think if they were, they'd be going for the high twos, close to 3 maybe. It's M390 steel, by the way. So there is the Wee straight up. Action, by the way, is great on bearings. Let's go to a Bestech, the Samari, recently released by Bestech, designed by Kombu. Look at that blade. Kind of a Tonto that's got all secondary bevel or grind, and very short on the primary. And I really shouldn't say that because there's no differentiation there. It's mainly in the edge. It's all a flat grind, straight down. And look at that beautiful hand-rubbed finish. I am told it's hand-rubbed, that linear pattern. Very pointy. Still a fair amount of meat on it, but let's look at the handle because that's where we're going to see most of the detail on these knives. Got that fishbone style, ancient looking pattern that harkens to past cultures. That's really, I would say, its primary feature. It's a very light knife. Really neat backspacer. Nothing too exceptional about the clip, but it fits very well with the design of the rest of the knife. So that is the Samari, another detail-rich knife. Beautiful pocket for your thumb there too, with nice effective jimping. Not too much branding on most of these knives, which I appreciate, and I think that makes them more collectible, more of art pieces, and so forth. Can any of these be EDCs? Of course they can. If you don't mind them getting a little beat up and scratched up in your pocket and looking not so pretty and new, that is certainly something you can do, and totally your decision. For me, these are more collectible. I do pocket them once in a while. So this is the least expensive of the crowd. By the way, that Samari runs up in the 250s or above as well, so same price range. But this one, the Ascot, is just a bit over 100, I believe. And this is by Bestech, the Ascot. I think what makes this eye candy and detail rich is the beautiful burl wood. Interestingly matched to a carbon fiber bolster. I mean, just crazy. Melding of old and new materials, natural and man-made. Great cutout, and this one has just superb, buttery, smooth bearing action. Nice brass pivot surround on both sides, and a brass anodized clip. It is titanium. Hardware is all steel, I believe. Wide open construction, and a really neat, useful, relatively plain traditional drop point with a nice satin finish. The Ascot by Bestech. Great jimping, by the way, too. That's what I like to call a file-like jimping. Very, very, very fine. You could almost use that as a file. I'm going to back up a bit in a minute to the last knife, but this one is Sandvik 14C28N. That helps keep the price down a bit. The Samari, I believe, is M390. Yes, it is. Right there, M390 for the Samari. Okay, we got two left, and I'm going to jump to Rike. The Rike M2. This is just a crazy feature-rich knife. It has a 5mm blade stock on it, but they've still managed to keep it relatively slicey with a high flat grind. Get over the detent hump there. I haven't been too successful at using that hole, but it's got a hell of a nice flipper angled forward. But look at the kind of futuristic spaceship looking detail on the titanium handle. This is one of a few that's all titanium on the handle out of this bunch. And it does have a secondary lock, but never has accidentally engaged for me. Steel on this one is S35VN. Beautiful, satiny looking, very, very fine bead blast. I think Rike was saying this is one of those that they bead blast and then give it a hand rub to give you that finish. You got lots of guard there. So on a lot of these knives where you don't like the flipper tab sticking up so high, really consider that it is really a guard when the knife is open and being used, which provides a lot of safety and security, and the ergos on this are really not bad at all. Again, today I'm talking more about eye candy than function. This, however, could be a very functional knife. There's a ball bearing ceramic ball embedded in the clip. Makes putting it in and out of the pocket a lot easier because your clothing just glides over that. Just a really neat kind of Tonto inspired blade as well. That's the Rike M2. Lots of cutouts on this guy too. Last and certainly not least, one of my favorite Wee knives. This is the 620. No longer in production. Talk about eye candy. Very similar to the straight up. Look at all of those gold star screws everywhere. Holding in the backspacer even. And look at this inletted backspacer on this knife that's cut into the frame. So it's not just spanning it and stuck in there. It's actually inserted. See the corners there. A very pointy kind of pommel that includes your lanyard hole. And look at the clip. I mean, it might be over the top for many of you, but certainly they took a design risk here and just making this just crazy over the top. And a really useful finger choil. Lots of choil there. Thumb studs, again with the stars, just like the straight up. Fires out beautifully. Warncliffe style blade with a beautiful belly. Useful knife. Should you want to pocket and use this? I think we're talking about close to 4mm blade stock there. Just this one came in gray. I had very few choices. Came from White Mountain Knives, so my thanks to Justin for getting this to me back about well, close to a year ago, I think. This interesting fuller type groove along the back of the handle. And again, ergonomically, great knife. It looks great, but it feels great too. That must be like a slogan for something. So let's bring them all out again. Running long for my vids. They're all larger knives. I do like larger knives, as you probably know. See if we can pull back a little bit. Too much. Squeeze them all in here. Again, you want to learn more about any of these blades, check them out on the individual reviews. Let's put the Ascot over here. So we've got the Ascot, we've got the Samari, we've got the 620 from we've got the Straight Up from and we've got the Rike M2. Hope you enjoyed this off the beaten course sort of review. Not really a view, but kind of an overview and a presentation. So hope to do more like this. Glad you're enjoying the videos. Feel free to comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This Old Sword, signing out.